We are live. Welcome back, everybody, once again to Friday Night Beer Time with Big Bird. I am, of course, your host, that big bird-looking fellow they call Colin. And as is tradition around here, we are here to ring in the weekend, yet another weekend, with an ice cold beer and a look back at some very interesting stories from the past week or so. We've got a nice size show coming up today. It's a very titillating title, as you might notice. So we'll be talking about sex workers, sex work, and all things thereof, particularly as it pertains to OnlyFans, but also getting into some other realms. And we'll be looking at some of that. We've got an update on a fugitive that's been roaming the country lately who has finally been apprehended. We'll be looking into that and taking a look at an upcoming TV series that I'm very, very excited about. I'll rephrase that. I'm not very, very excited about it. I'm cautiously optimistic about it going forward. So we're going to get into that, and then that'll probably touch into like the writer's strike, stuff like that. But we're going to get into it all today, and we're going to do it live because that's what we do here on Friday Night Beer Time. I think you mean pro sex work. Yes. What did I say? What's in the title, Jordan? I'm pro sex work. I think you mean pro sex work. Yes, I am pro sex work, and that's what we're going to talk about today. Hopefully, I did not mistitle the thumbnail of the video. But before we get into all that, because it is Friday, of course, we need to crack open a beer. And today's beer is none other than the Springtime exclamation, not question. No. It's question mark, Jordan. It's question mark for a reason. You had me going there for a minute. But this is the Springtime Strawberry Blonde with the lovely pink Marilyn Monroe silhouette on it. It's really good. It's Belgian blonde, but they made it with like a shit ton of cherries and actual real life hibiscus flower. So that's a whole fun thing. It's good for the summertime. Sun's out. Time to bring the fruity beers out. Let's go for it. Whoo! And it is all of 8%. So there's that. That helps. So cheers, everybody. Oh, yeah. Just as good as I remember. It's been a while since I had this beer. I think when they first came out with it at my local brewery, I tried it a few times. It's really good. It's very strawberry. Very, very strawberry-y. Sometimes I'm not really looking for that. Sometimes I just want a beer that tastes like beer. You know what I'm saying? Woo! So we did it. We made it through another week. Congratulations, everybody. It's Friday. It's finally here. We can get into it. And we've got a pretty decent show today. But more excitingly, we have a big, big show tomorrow right here on the Salt Streets YouTube channel, of course, and that would be episode 148. Yes, 148 of the Salt Streets podcast, where we got if we go 7 hours and we even hit 3/4 of what we're looking at talking about, I'd be really surprised. So we'll see how the day goes, but we're going to be taking a look at, we've got a whole video breakdown we're going to do of the Trump town hall on CNN and some of the fallout with that. We got the Durham report that just came out last week, and so we'll be going over some of the fallout from that. What else do we got going on? Of course, I forgot my notes. They're not sitting in front of me. Just off the top of my head. Nope. I'm not remembering. But there's a lot to go on in tomorrow's podcast. It's going to be fantastic. We got some nice comments on our YouTube videos that need addressing, so we're going to address some of those. There's a great video out there of an interview between, I'm just going to go ahead and say it's an interview between Crystal Ball of Breaking Points along with Sagar and Jetty interviewing RFK as he is running for president. And there are some clips to that just came out today. Well, they put out themselves, and then there's some response videos to that. We might have some fun with them. We always love to break down breaking points here on Salt Streets. So we'll get into all that good stuff. Of course, everything and more. Ukraine, obviously, we're going to be talking about Ukraine, duh. But all of that and more will be coming tomorrow, noon Pacific time. So wherever you're at in this great wide world of ours, just note the time, difference wherever you're at. We'll be noon Pacific. So be here, be square. Most of you all know where you're going and when to be here. So we'll see you tomorrow. Donovan will be in studio. Probably getting close to one of the last times we'll be operating out of this studio fully before the new studio is up and running. So no final date on that, of course, yet, but things are in process and things are happening. So we will see how that goes. So without any further ado, we're going to jump into talking about sex workers, and some of the issues that come with that. And courtesy, unfortunately, of the New York Post is where we make our entrance into this world today. And this is because of something we've talked about multiple times on the podcast, I think, and just smaller videos. But people that join OnlyFans to become creators on OnlyFans, I feel like there's kind of like this laissez-faire attitude about joining OnlyFans. A lot of women empowerment might be associated with it. A lot of, break out the legal pad and do your T-chart, pros and cons. There's a lot of pros and there's a lot of cons. Excuse me. And today we're going to be looking at a few cases. Well, there's more than a few cases, but a lot of cons that I don't know if a lot of people really think about when they make an entrance into this world. And this particular news story, it's brand new. It just came out, and I've got a few that are older. We're going to hit a bunch of these things as we go along, and then be offering just some interesting 2 cents that I might be able to add to this. But we're just going to, before we actually break down this article and look at it, we're just going to play you the video because it's 40 seconds, and there's a lot to it. So enjoy.
My stepdad was my top subscriber on my naughty website.
OnlyFans.
Now I know what you're all thinking. Oh, stepdad fantasy, could have made content from it, blah, blah, blah. This man had been in my life since I was 11 years old and spent $2,000 on custom content every single video that I sent out. When I caught him, he denied it to all of his friends, and obviously my mum got rid of him straight away. But yeah, if you want to talk about family trauma, my stepdad watched me have sex with my partner for 2 months.
And there's the story. Stepdad subscribed to his stepdaughter's OnlyFans, stepdaughter that he's had in his life since she was 11, and became her #1 fan. And we'll go ahead and, you know what, let's just screw off New York Post because their article is subpar and it's just full of too many ads. So we'll just jump over to this. These guys are the Dexerote, and they have a ton of articles on OnlyFans Fallout, so just bear with me as we go through this. But OnlyFans model catches subscriber, stepdad spending $2,000 on custom videos. It's not just $2,000. Not just $2,000. It's not every day that somebody's family dramas shakes up the. Oh my gosh, I can talk today. We need to drink more beer. Is what needs to happen. See, it's Friday, and I just don't have enough beer in my system for the show yet. So we need to solve that situation so I can read clearly. So we'll take it from the top. It's not every day that someone's family drama shakes up the entire internet. But the harrowing story from an unfortunate OnlyFans model, is taking the proverbial cake. Australian OnlyFans creator, I don't really care to boost you on my show. You have a TikTok for that. Is going viral on TikTok after sharing a wild story about how she discovered the identity of her #1 subscriber on the website. According to her, she ruined her mom's marriage after finding out that her top OnlyFans subscriber was her very own stepfather, thanks to a convenient feature on TikTok. OnlyFans model floored after discovering top subscribers her own stepdad. Quote, when I first started my website, I had this customer who was my #1 customer. She explained it already. He bought every single thing I sent him. He was pretty much a follower since the beginning. We would talk every day. He had custom requests for very specific things, and he also had a specific username on the website. 2 months in, this person had spent $2,000 on the site and had someone view my TikTok pages with the exact same username. And underneath that, it said, quote, from your contacts. Ooh, from your contacts. So it's automatically, she knows it's somebody in her contacts. Let's go ahead and play this other little video here, courtesy of the TikToks.
Here is the custom content that my stepdad was requesting on my naughty site. Like I said in a previous video, we messaged
I do like the fact that you're on TikTok and you won't say sex and you won't say OnlyFans. But hey, whatever. I don't know the rules on TikTok. I just pulled it up in the browser window, so hopefully the Chinese aren't listening to me too much.
every single day on the website, and he would make requests almost every single day.
Gross.
One of them was to see the underwear that I was wearing every day. At the time, I was working still, so I was out of the house 5 days a week, and he would ask for pictures in the bathroom or the change rooms of wherever I was.
Oh.
He also requested that when I was filming solo content at home, that I would not do it in the bathroom or in the shower. He always wanted it to be on my bed or on the floor of my bedroom. Which, mind you, he had access to this room every single day. He also was helping out do the washing at home with said underwear. I actually have here a little notebook from the time, and it says the name of the username, change room / public stuff that he was wanting.
Good Lord. So obviously there's some degenerate behavior going on there. Very, very uncomfortable when we start to think about this man's relationship with this young girl starting at 11, and now she's, I think it said in the, I think it says earlier in the New York Post article, I think she said she's 26 now. So there's a very long relationship there that one would hope is purely, you know, paternal and platonic, and, you know, but hey, people are fucked up as it turns out. So after doing some digging, she narrowed her list of suspects to 6 people and, quote, went with her gut feeling. After messaging the account saying she knows who he was, she received a text from her stepfather asking to talk. There's your dead giveaway. It wasn't long before crap hit the fan. She says that her stepfather had been in her life since she was 11 years old. Again, that's terrifying. Adding an extra layer of ick to the whole ordeal. Yeah, I would say so. I would definitely say so. The model, I don't understand why we're calling them models. I mean, at this point, let's call a spade here. You're a sex worker that does videos and pictures on the internet. You're not just a model, man. The model, I don't know. Maybe that's just me being weird about connotation of specific words, but hey. The model also says her mom was quick to kick him to the curb once she found out, but not after he denied everything to his mates, of course. I don't know why we have to speak like we're Australian. It is the English language, but that's fine. So obviously, as soon as her mom finds out, this dude is homeless, essentially, because that's fucking nasty, dude. That's gross. You're sitting there and you've been paying thousands of dollars to your stepdaughter and then watching the prawn she makes on OnlyFans and then communicating with her through various apps in a customer provider situation, which again is just so fucking creepy and gross. I can't even begin to explain. If I don't really have any hairs on the back of my neck right now, but if I did, they'd be standing up because it's fucking gross. That's not all. She also revealed the specific requests he asked for, which we just watched the video. Taking pictures of intimate clothing. Requests to me made users gag after she said she was responsible for washing the family's clothes. Gross. This is just the latest OnlyFans story to shake the internet after a creator on the website was shot by an armed... Oh, my God. We don't need to get into that. So, obviously, one case, very, very incestuously fucking gross case, obviously. But, hey, not all of them are like that. But it can happen. Let's put it that way. Cautionary tale is the story of the day. I want to make it very clear right from the jump. I am 100% pro-sex work pro-sex worker. I'm 100% there. We put a question mark in the title. I put a question mark in the thumbnail because we should be asking ourselves questions before we go down certain roads. But hey, far be it from me to tell anybody what I think they should or shouldn't do with their fucking life. And if this is the path that you decide to walk, congratulations. But cautionary tales must be told, because there are not a few incidents where things get weird and get creepy. And I think we are forgetting a lot of the golden rules about being on the internet that I think maybe just because I'm old, I'm like an early cusp millennial, things that we were taught about being on the internet. And the fact that I'm sitting here talking into a webcam right now that's live streaming to the globe if they wanted to partake of it, and then it's going to sit on the internet forever. I understand what that means. I've made the conscious decision to do this and to talk about these things. That's fine. But I feel like, particularly with, I don't want to just say OnlyFans because there's plenty of other places that do provide different services like this, but we'll just colloquially call it OnlyFans and those types of sites. There are a lot of extra risk factors that I don't think a lot of people really factor in when they decide to do things like this. This particular situation, I don't think anybody's going to just assume that their step-parent is a fucking perv that is going to that's going to feed them thousands of dollars in cash and then make special requests for their videos, because this dude is insanely creepy, okay? I mean, the world of prawn is not, it is, you hear stories about it all the time, but the step parent, step child fantasy thing is very, very huge. She mentioned it, hey, there's content right there, blah, blah, blah. In reality, it's fucking gross and creepy. And I would hope in most cases illegal, but that's fine. I get it. But also, that is a reality that this particular person is dealing with. And that's fucking terrifying to think about. But we'll go on. We're going to explore a few cases of this thing because, again, I've seen these stories pass through the internet. They burn like wildfire. They're here and they're gone really, really quick. And this latest one it got my mind thinking about all these other stories that I hear about people that had OnlyFans accounts, started OnlyFans, maybe because of the pandemic, maybe because they just needed some extra money, whatever. I'll go on. I'm gonna show some things on the internet. Maybe I won't show my face. I'll be safe. Blah blah blah. It'll be fine, and then I can get some extra money because there's just it. I show my butt on the internet, and then I get paid. Right? That's how that works. Not so much, but we'll get into that as we go along. This other one. This was from earlier this year in March. Primary school teacher who set up an OnlyFans account to support her family is fired from her job after bosses find out about the account. So, a couple things in this headline. It's kind of loaded. Primary school teacher, she was fired after setting up an OnlyFans account. We're going to go ahead and read the rest of the article and see if we can justify this title, because it seems like she was wronged by starting an OnlyFans account. Her bosses found out, and she got fired over it. A much-loved teacher who was fired after her nude photos were cruelly leaked from OnlyFans has shared how the humiliation has made her even stronger. Pause button. Pause button. Her nude photos were cruelly leaked from OnlyFans. Okay, somebody would have paid to get access to this account, or paid for the specific, nude photos which were then cruelly leaked. I think is a really interesting thing to think about, because she's gone on to start this career in some form of sex work where she's selling her nude photos to people that are willing to buy them. And if somebody shares that, then it becomes a cruelly leaked OnlyFans photo. But I don't know. We'll see how the rest of this article turns out. I have a lot of problems with the context already, like, written into this article already. But Sarah, 41, taught primary school primary age children's science with Starbase, a collaboration between U.S. Department Defense Department and schools, and lost her job for selling nude photos on the adult-only platform. The single mother told Daily Mail that photos had been protected by a paywall and that her, quote, fans were required to message her to access them. That seems interesting. She said a right-wing blogger, those goddamn right-wingers, you can never know what's going to happen with them fucking right-wingers, but a right-wing blogger had paid for the photos so he could send them to her boss and post the explicit images on Facebook and Twitter. Damn! It's rough business right there. Within 24 hours, she was hauled into a meeting and fired for posting OnlyFans content without the approval of the school. Ooh. So many angles here, because fuck the school's opinion on this. Don't give a shit. Period whatsoever. She says, quote, I was traumatized and shell-shocked. I've never been fired before, she recalled. There's some of her risque photos, apparently. I just wanted to get out of the building. I felt scared, fearful, hopeless, and confused. I don't bother anybody. I take care of my kids, go to the gym, do my side jobs. I hadn't done anything illegal. When I started my page, I was celibate. Whew, we should probably talk about your definition of celibate at that point, but that's fine. That's fine. You know, to each their own. To each sex worker their own sex work. Let's go with that. To make matters worse, she claims her boss had encouraged her to try OnlyFans and even gave her suggestions on how to make the most money. That's bad. He told me I could make a lot of money selling used panties. Gross. She revealed, she said his encouragement had been the final push she needed to dedicate more time and energy into her OnlyFans account. Pause button already. You said he. You said he said his encouragement. Oh, my God. Okay, so if a guy's going to get out there and be like, yeah, man, you should totally get on OnlyFans. You should definitely post nude pictures so that I could watch them later. I mean, I won't do it. I'm definitely above board on that one. He's selling you something. Come on. Good God. If a dude is telling you to get on OnlyFans, don't listen to him. Don't listen to him. Right now, I'm going to tell you right now. Do not listen to that man, because of course he wants to see you on OnlyFans. Period. Because he wants to see you naked. I'm sorry, but that's the way things go. I mean, maybe she just thought she was getting some encouragement from a near dear friend. Well, I guess a near and dear friend's not as bad as a stepfather, so hey, whatever. Let's see, where were we? It's just, of course, man, don't. The former cheater planned to spend the month of July filming content for her page and promote it using her personal Facebook account. Okay, I have such a hard time with this. It was no secret in the office that I had really been struggling financially. I had actually just moved into a low-income housing, she explained. Crying for me. However, her chance to finally break free of the poverty cycle came crashing down when her nude photos became the talk of her small, tight-knit town. Mine officially fucking blown. She suffered both emotional and financially after she was fired, admitting she spent many nights crying in the bathtub and had, self-deletion thoughts. On top of working as a full-time teacher, she had 5 side hustles, including teeth whitening, nutrition coaching, and tutoring students outside school. The single mom said she had exchanged nude photos with men on dating apps for free for many years, but this had never concerned her employer. Word. Because it's a different thing altogether. That's all I'm really saying, is that's a very, very different thing altogether. Dating apps are packaged as dating, but it's men manipulating women for sex. Women are treated like sexual consumables, she said. Men can send unsolicited dick pics. That's socially and culturally acceptable, and yet you never hear of men losing their jobs for all that. Well, first of all, that is not socially and culturally acceptable. Sending rando dick pics is never an okay thing to do to somebody, period, full stop. You might as well walk in front of them out in the middle of the street, drop trow, and go, hey, what do you think of this? That's gonna hem you up and send you right to jail. Right to jail, bro. There is no difference in my mind. unsolicited dick pics are a no-no. Period. Full stop. It drives me nuts. But it's okay. We'll get through this. That issue, they had an issue with monetizing it. I'm under a lot of stress. I don't get child support. My parents are dead. I'm raising 2 kids on 1 income. However, months on from the humiliating ordeal, she has found peace with her situation, has returned to OnlyFans with a vengeance. There you go. In 6 months, the content creator has progressed from posting nude photos to filming 1 girl-on-girl scene and 1 girl-boy scene, making thousands on the site. Word, you embraced it. That's cool. My fans are seeing me go on this journey exploring my sexuality. I own my story and I own my power, and I still want it to feel like I'm being true to myself. That's good. I'm glad. I'm glad that basically this person has essentially realized what it was she was doing, embraced it, and then just gone whole hog and said, fuck everybody. I don't give 2 shits. You were upset that I had photos. Watch this video now. Another story. This one came out a while back. Originally posted February this year. Updated February. I think it might have been when I first heard about it. School suspends boy after finding his mom's OnlyFans account. Another realm of this stuff. Okay. Another day, another OnlyFans scandal. This time, OnlyFans star, whatever your name is revealing her story in support of fellow creator and Florida mom Victoria Trice, who was banned from volunteering. Earlier this year, 31-year-old Victoria Snooks? Maybe because, like, I don't know, does she have some kind of resemblance to the Snooki herself? Anyway, she announced she was taking action against Orange County Public Schools after she was no longer allowed to volunteer because of her OnlyFans account. In defense, Cheek revealed how she and her friend were discriminated against when her son's school found out about her on OnlyFans video. OnlyFans mom says son was suspended because of her content. According to Cheek, she was forced to homeschool her 7-year-old after he was suspended when the school found out she was an OnlyFans model. Quote, my son was even suspended from school, and in trying to communicate with the principal, she refused to talk to me or give a reason as to why he was being treated badly simply because I did OnlyFans, she explains to The Star. Now with Victoria's case. She decided to share her story and wants to end the injustice treatment for moms who make this content for a living. When Victoria's story hit, I messaged her because she had found an attorney willing to take on the OnlyFans case. I had a similar situation with being banned from my kids' football organization because I did OnlyFans. They erased me from my kids' lives and humiliated me for what I did in private by exposing that secret. Okay, so let's take a pause here and let's reflect. Because we got 2 school cases, one of which affects the child, one of which affects the actual teacher herself. Again, I got no problem with any of these people's decision to do this. I would question their surprise when they got a very negative reaction to the public finding out what it was that they were doing on OnlyFans. Because as they say in this particular article, what I'm doing in private. I hate to say it, but it's not private. I mean, we could talk about various degrees of what private and public is, but when you're putting any kind of content out on the internet, regardless of whether there's a paywall there or not, or it's just for your subscribers or blah, blah, it's not private anymore, man. It's not private. It's paywalled, but anybody, like we touched in the first story about somebody that got a hold of paywalled content and then shared it out on the internet and in a fashion that she did not approve of. Obviously, there's like a couple different angles here. You can think about it's my content, I own it. You're stealing money from me by sharing this content, away from my paywall, where that's how we do things here. That's an issue. I think that's definitely a bigger issue than, society's backlash against your sex work, but that's fine. I have an issue with that kind of thing because that I'm not okay with people stealing other people's content that is kind of a pay to be distributed type of content that turns around and then is just freely distributed without your say in it. But that is another story here. The underlying narrative to all this is that I make private content for people that pay me, but you're doing it on the internet, which on the internet in a public platform, right? It all might be paywalled, generally speaking. I don't think all of OnlyFans is paywalled. I think you can make content that's just paywalled, or you can paywall your whole account. I'm not entirely familiar with OnlyFans, to be perfectly honest. My bad. But just because there's a paywall in front of it doesn't mean it's private content. If you decide to post it on the internet, you always run the risk of it getting out from behind, the safety net of your own paywall and your own customers. Even then, are you really trusting all of your customers who are there for one specific reason? Let's be straight with what this is. This is a form of sex work that you are undergoing and you are partaking in. The people that are there for one reason. Now, do you want to trust your customer base to keep all of your shit on lock and behind the paywall and just keep it privately for themselves? That's fine. Maybe there's some contractual things you can work up behind your paywall to have some teeth on that on the back end if somebody decides to share your stuff for free. But at the end of the day, you're doing what you're doing, and you didn't think about how that would affect the rest of the people in your life if any of this info got out into the public sphere. Lady that lost her job as a teacher, she was in a very small, tight-knit community. What did you think was going to happen? Did you honestly think that the internet was so sacred and secure in your own privacy that the nude photos of yourself were not going to find their way out into the world? You're sending it out there. It's only a matter of time before a portion of it does leak, and then somebody back home finds out and then is going to judge you for that. Whether or not you're okay with the fallout from that judgment is your own call. I hold no ill will against somebody that decides to go into some form of sex work and then participates in a small town society. I got no issue with that. But unfortunately, a lot of people fucking do. For whatever reason. Everybody's got their own issues. Sometimes it could be a stepdad that is a super creeper that probably should be looked into a little further. Sometimes it's going to be kids at the school that get a hold of shit like that and find out that that's fucking Jimmy's mom over there, dude. And then that kid's fucking life is ruined. Because for one, he just found out his mom is parading herself online for people. Doesn't matter how many. And now two, he has to be the kid of that mom who's over there doing sex work. His friends will never look at him the same way again. I mean, it's almost probably a blessing in disguise that the school suspended the kid, because can you imagine being that kid, having to go to that school for however many more years you had to go to, knowing that every single person that you run into throughout the day probably knows that your mom has nudie pictures on the internet. Again, no judgment if that's what your call is, but you shouldn't be surprised if all of a sudden the small town that you live in figures it out and then judges you for it. Judgment is bad. I got it. You can think, I don't want to say this. I would like to have a conversation with somebody that judges sex workers in a very negative fashion, just blatantly right off the bat, because I would have a feeling that they probably don't have a real principled stance on why they're offended by it. They just don't like it because, boobs are bad. We got to hide them from the public. No breastfeeding in public, blah, blah, blah. I think that's ridiculous, but the damage societally towards the person that's actually doing the OnlyFans account in this particular case, I don't care. You make that decision. You live with the consequences, whatever they are. But the family members that you have, the children that you might have or might have in the future, you should be thinking about that before you begin to do something like an OnlyFans. And every one of these stories is just it's a cautionary tale of why exactly you should probably be really, really, really fucking careful and very, very sure, and have lots of conversations with everybody that you know that you have a close relationship with before you would do something like this, because people are going to find out at some point. The internet is a big place, but it's also a small world, and the internet really doesn't change that small world aspect. We might have access to information on a global scale now, but at the end of the day, everybody that's in your town is probably going to be attached to some fucking Facebook community page or something. The internet is both all at once global and local. And by posting shit on the internet, you automatically open it yourself up to local rebuffs if somebody finds out. You can talk to us. We know for sure. We have dealt with that on a very personal level, both Donovan and I, for very different reasons, obviously very different things than OnlyFans. But, you know, I would challenge anybody that having the wrong political views or people misunderstanding your political views is the fallout from that can be just as extreme as somebody just finding out that you post nudies online or do straight up prawn online. I don't know. But either way, it's another cautionary tale. That one both affects somebody's career, and in the other story, it affects their actual children. Not that I would have discouraged this mother from doing her OnlyFans just because she has kids, but I would like to know if she really truly thought about that and what that might mean for her kid, that she now has to homeschool, if not send to a new school later on, somewhere else. It's probably going to be a massive inconvenience. You can't just send your kid to the local public school now, because now he's that kid, and he'll never not be that kid. It'll take forever for that stigma to go away as far as school children are concerned. They're like the worst human beings on the planet. Those people are the little shitlins, man. They're. You remember being in school growing up? Kids are fucking terrible to each other. They just don't know anything other than that. I feel bad, but I don't feel bad for these people that are feeling the consequences of the choices they made by trying to get into sex work. Once it becomes public, sex work is not just a private thing. I'm sorry, but it's not. If you become a sex worker, people will find out in some fashion, and they will judge you for it. And you can either be ready for that judgment and willing to go down that path regardless, because this is the choice that you make, in which case, fucking go for it. Let's go. But if not, you should really rethink this whole situation. OnlyFans model disowned by her family and kicked out of her gym for filming content. Now, this story gets a little bit more crazy, because this is filming content. I think is a very light way to put this. What's the right word? I know, it's a light way to put it. She filmed her and a dude that she had met at the gym a couple times having intercourse in one of the bathrooms. And then once it was posted, the gym found out and kicked her out. And there's a video of her talking about it. She has zero remorse over that. She knew exactly what she was getting into. And if anything, she was pissed off because the gym decided to ban both of them from the gym. And then she just went and found another gym. But that's fine. Nobody really cares about that. But she apparently was willing to undergo this. So I'm assuming it's probably not the first time she's ever been kicked out. But if you're not willing to risk it all in the name of content, then being on OnlyFans might not be for you. Your exclusive content hustle could cost you relationships with your family and even have you looking for another place to work out. She knows this all too well. She's been disowned by her family over her OnlyFans and been kicked out of her gym for filming content there. So she filmed her and a dude getting into it. So a little different than just making content there. What have I missed, Joseph as? Hopefully she made enough money on OnlyFans to relocate. Actually, you know what? Let's just do this. To that point, Joseph, OnlyFans CEO recently came out, who I might add is a woman, and was talking about the success of the platform and what's going on there. They have more than 3 million content creators now on OnlyFans, and they have entered the, quote, global business market. So, the old, probably pre-pandemic way of looking at this, because I guarantee you, I think they say more about it in this article, so we might find this out as we go forward, but there was a massive boost in OnlyFans as soon as pandemic style hit and everybody was at home. People weren't allowed to work. They're like, well, hey, I want to work. Some people had to work. And so what did they do? They started OnlyFans. And then it was like, oh yeah, you could just start an OnlyFans. You can take, nude pictures or lewd pictures, or you could just do straight up prawn. You can do whatever you want on OnlyFans, and people will just come in there and they will fucking throw money at you. Show your butt, get paid. That's how we do it on OnlyFans. Until there's 3 million other people there that you have to compete against. Then what are you doing? Then you're in the fucking YouTube, you're in the YouTube race. You're in the social media race at that point. You're constantly competing against other individuals on the same platform for a limited amount of attention to see if you can get the most. So 3 million fans means that you can't just necessarily upload a picture of your butt on OnlyFans and then people will throw money at you for more pictures of your butt. That's what that means. It means that that's not real anymore. It might have been at one point. I would challenge that and say it's never really been like that. But now with over 3 million creators, it's definitely a much bigger ocean and you are a much smaller fish. The number of creators signing up to OnlyFans surged by about 40% last year. So last year being 2022, this did indeed come out. Yes, this was just a couple days ago. So during the pandemic, we'll put it that way, maybe tail end of lockdown type stuff and jobs coming back and all that. But obviously we're still dealing with that. So bringing the total to more than 3 million for the subscription platform that mostly features adult content. Again, OnlyFans isn't just for, naughty pictures and videos and things like that. You could, originally, if I recall this correctly, when OnlyFans came out, they were essentially rivals with Patreon. And for whatever reason, maybe the ethoses of the company or just the amount, the types of content creators that were going to each one of those platforms, OnlyFans kind of became the risque place, and then Patreon became like the, hey, whatever goes. We don't do prawn over here, so don't bring that over here. But for the most part, you can do whatever you want. You could paint for money. You could do whatever you want to do over here. But OnlyFans kind of became it became centered more around adult-themed content. Now, again, I think there's a couple comedians that I know of that say they have OnlyFans pages. And they post like clips at their shows and stuff like that behind the paywall, all this good stuff. They don't do any of the, they're not up there showing their butts and stuff. They're up there just showing private content behind a paywall. And they're attractive women, generally speaking. So I would imagine it's kind of a fishing technique to be like, oh, hey, I'm on OnlyFans. Come check me out. And it's like, what is this? All just your stand-up? What are we doing here? Then the hot or interesting ones stand out and get more money. Meritocracy, a.k.a. Merc, baby. Free market stuff. That's right, Joseph. And that's kind of, that's the deal, man. That is the deal with all this OnlyFans stuff. I'm going to address that again. We'll carry on with the article first, and then I'll pontificate further. Quote, we noticed a huge uptick in creators as well as fans joining the platform, and we attribute that to OnlyFans is very much a global business. We're in over 100 countries. The CEO, Amigan, told the Web Summit in Rio de Janeiro last week. The company is now setting its sights on Latin America and Australia to further increase its numbers. The video of the first chick, she's Australian. She's down there. And sex sells everywhere, man. There's no place on the planet, wherever there's humans, sex sells. That's just a thing that happens. You can get in, as long as the government doesn't shut you down right off the bat, then you're gonna get content creators, and you're going to get subscribers coming from those countries. We're going to go with business in Latin America. It's a huge part of that, Jen. We're seeing Latin America is a massive growth region for us to see the opportunity for creators to get exposed to the global audience. Said, which had revenues of close to $1 billion in 2021, has also identified Australia and some parts of Europe as growth regions too. The owner of OnlyFans, Leo Radvinsky, has made more than $500 million from the platform since 2020. He took control of its parent company, Phoenix International, in 2018 for an undisclosed amount 2 years after it was founded by British entrepreneur Tim Stokely. Interesting that all the owners of OnlyFans are dudes and the CEO is a woman. That's kind of funny. Just saying. The world's oldest business, Garrett says. That's why we are pro-sex work here. I don't want to speak for my cohort, my brother-in-arms, Donovan, but add that to the list. I said, I am pro-sex work, period. I just think if you're going to go down that road, if you got kids, if you plan on having kids, if you have a public-facing job, anything, if you have a job where you know your boss isn't going to be cool with it if it ever became public, you need to factor those things in before you just get on there, show your butt on the internet to try to make some money. It's not that simple, and odds are you're not going to become rich before you get into trouble somewhere, and shit's not going to go so well. But fully support your right to do it, and I'm a fan of people that do that. I'm pro sex work 100%. Humanity's oldest profession or something. Yeah, man. You know, the world's oldest business, the oldest profession, it's all the same shit. People have been selling themselves for a long time. So I think it is very interesting that, again, with that 3 million, at least just on this particular website, I mean, I would imagine there's tons of people that would take the route of, instead of going OnlyFans, they go like to one of the free porn websites like fucking Pornhub. And we got a video from some of that fallout here pretty soon too. But it's just another example, man. Just another example. You can be who you are, and people may or may not be into you at that point. Like Garrett said earlier, it's fucking meritocracy. Let's go. It's America. That's how we do things. The free market at work. But just know, much like a crab fishing job up in Alaska, there's odds of it having a not so good outcome. It's not just going to be a rich payoff. There's going to be consequences for a decision that you make. And it's up to you to determine before you make that decision whether those you're okay with those consequences or not. Or the people that are going to be affected by that you might have direct relationships with, you should be making sure that they're going to be okay with those consequences too. Because if they're not, it seems like a pretty shitty move to be able to just... If you're a mother and you go down that route and you got little kids that are going to be at school, they're going to be teenagers, you know that's not going to end well. Probably not going to end well. And it's, it's going to be up to you to make that decision or not. But hey, what do we know? Let's see, how long have we been? Oh shit, we've been going for that long already? Well, let's hit a quick story. It's my OnlyFans thing. Been a lot of stories about it lately. A lot of just generalized sex work talk too, because I'm generally speaking, when I hear people just talk in generalities about sex work, whether that's legalized prostitution or some kind of OnlyFans type situation like that, or if you're going to get into doing like adult films or anything like that, totally down with all that good stuff. I'm glad people are making decisions that they want to make, and they're carrying out their lives the way they want to do it, and that's good. And I'm super down with it, but every decision has a consequence, man, and sometimes the consequences touch more than just you being the person making the decision. There should be and are consequences for anything you choose to do in life. Amen. Good or bad. That's right, Joseph. And this is just something that's, I think in particular, in Western society, I would imagine in other societies it's probably much freer, but at the end of the day, people still get. There's been a whole fucking Twitter spat this past week about like mothers in public breastfeeding their kids, and I'm like, everyone's like, "Oh my God, can you believe it? Where's my pearls? I must clutch them." And I'm like, this is not the cultural battle I think y'all need to be fighting. But I mean, that's how prudish sometimes the West can be, and I don't see fucking any weirdness about that. I mean, you can make it uncomfortable and weird. We could put it that way. I mean, there's things you could do, but at the end of the day, every time I've ever run across somebody breastfeeding in public, it's just like a thing they're doing. It's not like an ordeal. They're there to they're trying to make sure their kid is full, that is eating and growing and being healthy and all that. Ain't no issue with that, bro. If you get weird about that, that's kind of your deal. But yeah. So, particular if you're in the West, if you want to go down this route, break out that fucking legal pad, get the pros and cons chart going, and just make sure you fucking think about that decision before you go down there, because the internet's forever, baby. Unless you're Taylor Lorenz, but that's for a whole nother day. We're not going to even touch Taylor today. But just know the internet's forever, and the things that you post on there will be there to help you or hurt you for the rest of your life. And I think that's probably the best way to think about sex work as you go forward. Not sure how many countries there are that are more free than we are supposed to be. Well, supposed to be, Garrett, is another thing. Yeah, word. But also, I'd be over in Paris and, see topless women sunbathing out in public. You're not going to find that here in America. For whatever reason, it is what it is, but that's fine. So we're gonna move on. We're gonna hit one more. We're gonna skip that one because I don't really care about that one anyways. What I do care about, however, though, is the writer strike that's going on right now in the TV world, over in the Hollywoods. All these super progressive people want more money to write the bad shows that are on TV now. And after this first article here is from the LA Times, which after, multiple useless contextual paragraphs around a very specific nothing, we get into the meat and potatoes. The work stoppage follows months of tense negotiations. The WGA, which is the Writers Guild Association, I believe. So these are all the writers and showrunners of everybody's favorite shows and least favorite shows. It's here in America. You haven't been to the right beach, brother. Oh, buddy, you're probably right. I haven't been to the right beach. I did go to a few nudie beaches back in the day because I worked right next to one. And so me and my coworker would just go running, and we'd go past there. And I was all amped on it the very first time we went. And then he was like laughing. I was like, "What's so funny, man?" He's like, "Don't worry about it. You'll find out." And we get there, and it's just nothing but dongs swinging everywhere. And I didn't get what I wanted from that one, Joseph. It was rough business out there, buddy. It was rough business. Bunch of giant, burly fucking Italians living on Long Island. They're just bearing it all for the world to see. But yeah, and I think there's been some laws loosening that kind of thing. I think you can do it in Central Park now in New York City. I'm pretty sure. I think you can be topless out there. I'm not really sure, but I'm kind of on the free the nipple train myself, to be honest. It's whatever, dude. You do you. I don't give two shits about it. Just don't bother me. But anyways, writer strike, yeah, the work stoppage going on at WGS. Proposed demands collectively valued at $429 million, including increases in minimum pay and increases in residual payments from streaming. That's always a big issue, is the streaming. We can all remember when music streaming became a thing and all the bands got super fucking affected by it. The Union on the Alliance of Motion Pictures and TV Producers, the AMPTP, the organization that represents the major television and film studios, networks, streaming services, and production companies, have yet to reach a consensus in contract negotiations, and both sides have signaled that they remain far apart. So writer strike's been going on for about 2 weeks now, 2 or 3 weeks, I think 2 weeks. And I'm just to say, like, this, there's representation at the table to represent motion picture and TV producers major television and film studios, networks, streaming services, and production companies. That is so many giant ass, super rich fucking companies that only one group of people is representing all of them. And we wonder why I'm anti-union? For fuck's sakes, man. No wonder there's a union around writers that's trying to get them paid, because none of them have any negotiating power. If you're going up against the entire billfold of Hollywood, you're not going to win. They are. You fucking get rid of all these fucking stupid unions, individuals be able to have the ability to get in there and negotiate their own fucking contracts, so that maybe our shows won't suck as much as they do these days. Every one of these writers has brought you the worst fucking television in TV history over the last like 3 or 4 years. It's like all the creative juices ran out during COVID, and we've just been left with suck ever since. I don't really care about this. The only reason I care about this is because one of my favorite franchises in the entire world, which you could see behind me in this little poster, maybe you can kind of almost not really see it, but I love the Alien universe. I love the Alien movies, even the bad ones. And there is a new Alien TV show coming out eventually. And the writer's strike is fucking with this, I guarantee you. And so I'm paying attention to the writer's strike. So the Alien TV series from FX is going to be coming out on Hulu. I'm very excited about that. The upcoming Alien TV series by Noah Hawley is set to get cameras rolling by September this year. So we'll see. I know that they do different things, like Alien and Ridley Scott generally make things like over in the UK and shit. So I don't know if this is really going to be affected by the writer's strike, but we'll see. Recently, the Alien series hired production designer Andy Nicholas, and some revealing spoilerish concept art leaked online for Alien Day. Casting announcement should start to roll out soon. We have a single particular casting announcement, which I'm very excited to bring to you. I don't know who this person is, but we'll look at it, and then we'll look at the writer and director and producer for their show. According to the latest Production Weekly listing, the series will be filming September 2023. Prior to this update, filming was expected to kick off in the past March. Halley's Alien TV series will take place before Ellen Ripley's storyline and establish a film quadrilogy. The setting of the show will also be set on Earth in the near future, roughly 70 years from now, rather than on board a spaceship or station. The series will also tackle transhuman concepts and the blending of human consciousness with synthetic/robot bodies. So imagine we'll be getting into like the android build-up and the Wayland company kind of building up that whole thing. A little disappointed it's going to take place on Earth because there's never been aliens on Earth, so we'll see. We'll see how close they stick to the lore here, because I'm going to be really upset they give me a really shitty alien show. But all of this is definitely speculation at this point, because, yeah, they could say they're going to do one thing now, but at the end of the day, once everybody actually starts writing and shooting the film, nobody really... See, there's an alien in the fucking trees. There's an alien in the trees from the concept art. Get rid of that shit. Get rid of it. It belongs in the stupid Alien vs. Predator world, which nobody cares about because it's garbage. And it doesn't matter to the regular Alien universe. But the writer and director, Noah Hawley, excited to see what's going on. I haven't seen any of his new stuff. He's got a limited profile, but he's done a lot of work on Fargo, the TV series, which I've heard excellent things about. Legion, I think that's like a superhero show, I want to say. I'm not really sure. I don't do superhero stuff very much. Bones was a big one. He was a writer or executive. Yeah. Producer or writer on this one? Writer on Bones for 43 episodes. So he's definitely got some TV experience, but not too much to make me think he's super tainted. So I'm excited to see what he's got. Then he'll be doing the directing. He's writing alongside Ridley Scott, the father of Alien. So very, 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 very cool there. And then also producing it. And they've cast one member so far, Sydney Chandler, who I am just now trying to figure out where she came from. Nothing I recognize in her filmography, but that's exciting. That's exciting. It's exciting stuff when I actually get excited about a new TV show coming out, because it happens so rarely. And if you're gonna give me some alien stuff, you were gonna make alien movies, but then some shit happened because Covenant, I guess, fell flat on its face, and nobody wants movies anymore. So we're gonna make an alien TV show. Whew. And hopefully, it doesn't follow the same track record that the rest of the major blockbustorial TV shows have been doing lately, and just falling flat on their face and eating loads of shit. So yes, that's the show for today, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much for joining me. Joseph, always good to see you. Jordan, thanks for hanging out. Tomorrow, noon Pacific Standard Time, 12 noon, right here, Salt the Streets YouTube. We got episode 148 of the podcast coming up. We're going to be talking about so much shit. So much shit has gone down lately. The Durham report's going to be huge. Got some Ukraine stuff, tackling Trump's town hall, and then we possibly might be reviewing a little bit of Breaking Points. We'll see how that goes. Until then, guys, I am Big Bird Offie. Make sure to follow me on all my socials, which you can see right there at Big Bird Offie on all the Instagrams and the Twitters. I basically live on the Twitters, so definitely come hang out there. And then obviously my dude who's not here right now because it's Friday, he'll be here tomorrow, Mr. Donovan. He is alpaca_Donovan on Instagram and at Salt the Street on the Twitters. And of course, we are at Salt the Street on everything else, including our Patreon. Patreon.com/saltstreets. Thank you once again for joining me, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you all the best Friday evening ever. And we'll be live again right here on the channel at noon tomorrow. Some fun stuff. We'll see you then. Bye.